I do remember the days when there used to be computers introduced in a company, and they used to be in a corner in an air-conditioned room. And while everything else used to go on paper, they used to be transcribed on computers. And the company was supposed to become computerized. And that was the term used those days. Gone are those days of mere automation. Here we are reimagining the future using technology, but let's see how organizations handle that. So I'd like to bring in at this point of time, Tapan Singhel, who's not only handled, he has lived through these eras, as well as managed to handle a company through this entire transformational period last 2 decades, including the very tough last year. So Tapan, position in mindset of people from computers or technology lying in a corner to be in everyday lives and how they work.
I loved when you started by saying, that was an era. You remember I became the head for IT way back, 1993,
That's right.
94. And one of the charm was I'll get an AC cabin.
Yes.
And we had to take out our shoes 2 doors away, and put on slippers from that era to an era today, the way it is. So I think the biggest shift which has happened and has not happened to the level which I want it to happen is what I'll talk about, Joydeep. See, in earlier time, knowledge came with experience, and hierarchy was there because it established a culture in which a person who moves up the hierarchy has got more knowledge, and he would be the guiding force of any transformation, any changes happening in any organization. That was an era. I'm very sad to see that quite a bit of the era still remains. People who are moving up the hierarchy try to defend that kind of structure and talk of transformation in an organization in current scenario where computer is not behind 2 closed doors and you take out shoes to enter that. Computers everywhere, right from a watch to whatever you think about it, blink your eyes, is everywhere. In an era when knowledge has been to a level where even a kid knows much more than you do in a matter of seconds, where computers everywhere, a structure with hierarchical nature and a belief that experience will get you knowledge, and then because of experience and age, you are the best decision maker, is flawed. Joydeep. So I've seen a lot of transformation happening in this space, but has it reached there? No, it is still hopelessly off. I think it is this mindset which holds the radical transformation from taking place to the speed at which it should. And that's why you see, Joydeep, and you have been mentoring so many startups, and we also have Ravi here. Young agile startups are able to disrupt at such a hyper speed. Did you imagine this 15, 20 years back, Joydeep, that they can disrupt such huge companies, organizations at such hyper speed? The only difference is they have a structure in which everybody can transform the organization, and they have a common vision and mission to achieve, from a customer perspective, something with the customer not experienced before. I think that is my the opening remark, if you may say so in your comment.
I think that's so true. In fact, in those days when you're talking about the air-conditioned rooms, it is very funny. I used to sell computers those days, and those days I was part of many organizations creating those AC rooms, but my discussion with purchase and procurement and IT used to happen outside. So I used to take the slightest opportunity to say, let me look at your computers and then get into the room. It was hot and humid country. We always have had that in cars too. So Ravi, Tapan was talking about the fact that while transition is difficult, organizations which start with digital younger thought and not the hierarchical issues stand a better chance. Now, from your personal experience as well as your future kind of a view, what do you think? I mean, is that universally true, or what does it really need to make that happen in the organization?
I think transformation, frankly, is very difficult. As I think all of you probably agree to. I think the world is moving so rapidly, and I can share some experience from our company's story, at least. So we started up stocks about in 2012, like you had mentioned earlier. And we're 10 years old. Just the retail business is 10 years old. When we came to India, I'm from the States. We came to India and we made a decision to only be a digital only business. So this was in the world of before Aadhaar came into existence, before internet penetration is at the levels that it is today. And even back then, we made the decision of only being an online brokerage. And it was very difficult because you basically had to open up offices and sub-brokership and have this massive offline presence to actually open accounts. But it was a very difficult time to grow. We hired more and more engineers, and then Aadhaar became a reality. Aadhaar onboarding became a reality. Geo unleashed magic, into the country, and we were able to grow. And now we're the second largest brokerage by a number of customers. We're onboarding anywhere between 500,000 to 1 million customers per month. And I think one of the things you should ask is, we are ourselves fearful being, there's so many new companies entering even now that are even more digital native than we are, right? We were never an offline business going into online. We're always a native online business. And if you look at, we have about 400 plus employees. Majority of them, 60% of them are engineers and product managers and designers. I myself have a degree in computer science. All the CXOs have come from engineering backgrounds. That's a great test to ask somebody, how digitally ready are they? How's the management? How do they think about things? We're already afraid of newcomers coming onto the scene that are younger, even more digital than we are, right? So I think transformation is very difficult, and the companies that don't do it they're in for a ride, and everything just has, I remember when we were number 50 on the active list, on the biggest brokers in the country list. We thought, man, to get to number one, number two is going to take us so much time, but it took 2 years, 2.5 years. We're the second largest now. I think the current number 50 player today, can probably even beat us if they're smart enough within a year. Everything is compresses. So I think this idea of transformation itself is frankly very difficult. I was reading something by Mark Andreessen a couple of days ago, and he said something along the same thing. It's so hard for companies to transform, and they're digital natives company already that are already so far ahead, and now there's even newer companies sprouting up all the time. So, I think it's very important to just move very rapidly. So
in fact, it's interesting you say companies find it very hard to transform because finally, what are companies? Companies are creation. It's a man-made creation. Finally, it's the people, right? So it's the people who make the company, and it comes down to our, I think, very primal resistance to change and the fear of what can happen, and not being able to fit in, and all of those things which are insecurities which all have. We are humans after all. So Tapan, you'll remember when I started, as a CEO, and we started at the same time as CEO, and we were exchanging notes. And we wanted to be a very technologically oriented company. The biggest challenge I faced is while people are very happy about it, when it came to giving the requirements to a technology vendor, they were basically telling what they are doing and asking them to automate, rather than saying, "How can you make my life?" So this transition, people. So how would you still do it? How would you try to make people think digitally?
It's a very, very interesting question, Joydeep. And I'll tell you why people think like that. The problem is not change. The problem is insecurity.
Yes.
And the problem is the hierarchical structure in which you feel secure because of the age that you have and the number of years you have put. You are scared that a digital transformation may mean that all that is becoming redundant. You heard what Ravi said. He becomes number 2 from 50, in 2.5 years. He's scared now that this guy may come and take my position, in 1 year's time. The era of transformation and change has moved so rapidly, Joydeep, that either you attune yourself or as an organization, you destroy yourself. No, let us be very clear about it. Now, when it comes to people, because people are people and they are human and they are insecure, they are sensitive, and they'll have that fear. Let's accept that. No, let's not try to be in an idealistic situation. Everybody will be like, gung-ho, and we'll change the world and tomorrow we'll conquer the world. It doesn't happen like that, no? And we know it. We have faced all this. So the way I look at it is, first and foremost, I have taken away this thought from people's mind that the boss will tell what is right. You feel what's right, you drive it, and I empower you completely with money, resources, whatever and whichever resource at whatever level wants to do it. That's the first thing. The second thing is, like if you remember, Ravi said, he came before the Aadhaar time, he was struggling. The moment Aadhaar happened, he rode the wave and he made it big. The second thing is leaders and visionaries, and that can, and leaders does not mean age, remember that, Leader means anybody, even a water boy in the organization can be leader. The ability to see what is going to come, because digital transformation does not happen overnight, and you have helped us also, Joydeep, in the current transformation we're undergoing, it takes years, if you are going to do massive transformation. So the cutting edge is not when technology has arrived and then you start transformation. You're too late. The cutting edge is that you start transformation and it matches when the technology arrives. You are the ruler then. Yeah. So that is the trick, Joydev. So one, first and foremost, take out from mindset of people that the boss will decide. It's a bullshit mindset to have in today's time. Second is, don't start transformation when technology has arrived. And this is where the beauty is, Joydev, and you know it more than anybody else. The hyper speed at which technology moves, the human brain is not able to comprehend it. So all of us were thinking electric vehicle will not be a reality 4 years back. Battery will be expensive. How will lithium come through? What is happening? Today, you watch where it's going. We're thinking that drone movement of people will not be possible. Drone taxi, not just 4-5 years back. Today, the biggest investment is happening. That technology moves such a hyper speed. Be excited about it. Do transformation to match with technology movement, and you get it right. And the boss is not the one who decides. You have an idea, you decide, and you are the boss for that. You get it on, and then you're in a continuous process of transformation, Joydeep. I think that is
absolutely great thoughts, Tapan. In fact, if you can take away two and come to Ravi, one is that Ravi, Tapan is saying is now the boss who decides, which means he's basically talking of a knowledge organization, right? It's really or knowledge which transcends age, knowledge or foresight, ability to comprehend and lead. And the second thing which I want to bring to you, which you said, was that technology happens, now it happens at its own pace, and business will have to either lead it or keep pace or cannot just say that, I'll wait. It's like that old adage, that some people make things happen, some people watch things happen, and some people wonder what happened. So there will always be companies also which will have, you can put in 3 buckets. So when you think of the whole marketplace now, I mean, not only online broking, but the whole digital financials place.
Yep.
How do you see these two panning out? Do you see more and more younger leaders, or do you see more? And do you see companies this sort of charting out business models which technology will then come and match? Technology can match it, or do you see people latching onto technology and then moving up? Amorphous thoughts, but whatever you can make of it.
In this day and age, you're as good as a talent that you're able to onboard and hire and motivate, and empower. I fully agree with Tapan. I mean, like, it's not about what I think. I may have some idea. I'm 40 years old. I may have somebody that's already antiquated, right?
Yeah.
And so it's
making us feel bad, Tapan and me. We are.
We have not crossed 18 till now, man.
But a good. My point was, a good leader understands that, and that times change so rapidly. So it's a fight for. It's literally a fight for talent right now. Your organization is going to be as good as the people that you're able to attract, right? Like I said, we have over 400 employees, and most of them are engineers and product managers and designers, and it's a people organization. It's a knowledge economy, right? So how good are your engineers? How good are the product managers? And these people don't work at, I'm sorry to say, they don't want to work at banks anymore. They don't want to work at, large old school companies anymore. They want to work for young, sexy firms where it's completely native app driven, where it can reach out to younger and younger audience, right? And how international are they in thinking, and they get excited by that. So how are you able to transform your organization and to even not becoming a vendor-based organization, but digital native means you don't outsource technology, you don't outsource your core. Technology becomes your core competency. And for that, you have to be able to hire, forget hiring, attract.
Yes.
Position yourself, attract, hire, motivate these young people, to recruit them, bring them on board, and give them the resources and power that they need to do their thing. So I think that's the challenge that even we face, right? As a 100% digital native, is we even face that today. So I can only imagine what the big banks must be going through, right?
Totally.
And that transformation is happening even more, like, faster and faster day by day. And things are getting more and more international as well, right? So it just so I think the companies that win out understand this, and they're able to build around it. and they'll thrive.
Yeah. So it's an interesting one. We talk about talent. So just to move that in the last phase of our discussion, Tapan, how do we create this talent? Do you think something we have to think fundamentally as a country? How do we create people who want to work in an agile sense? Is there something to be done to our education system for that?
Yeah. I think, Jadid, I love your questions as usual. Now that's why I come to wherever you moderate here. So I think let me first challenge Ravi. No, right now Ravi is looking from his current circumstances. So he's looking for good youngsters who look international doing that. The same people, like Ravi said, he's 40 now. In 10 years' time, may not be the same youngsters that he was looking for. No. So will he be churning out people continuously? I think it's a question about how you have the spirit, no, in the organization, irrespective of age, and how do you build that? I think that is what is very critical. Otherwise, you'll always be an organization which gets older, and there's some other organization coming in new. No. So how do you churn yourself on a continuous basis, either talent, or how do you build the spirit of the talent of youngness in an organization which is large also? I think that is the challenge comes in, Joydeep. No, in a country which is known for jugaad, in a country which is known for entrepreneurship on the go, in a country which is known for solution providing by every individual on the street, because that's how you survive. Yeah. There's no dearth of talent. The problem is our caste system, as I call it, of education. No, if you're from so and so institution, you are great. No, I think we brand people and then we give opportunities to people who are branded like that. And then we expect a culture of transformation and freeness to happen. Absolutely. I think in our country, we don't have dearth of talent at all. The dearth is in our mindset of how we look at talent, Joydeep. No, otherwise, every individual that you can think of. I remember this conversation with an Australian friend of mine. He says, you know why you guys are such good innovators and thinkers and why we are not? I said, yeah, that's interesting. Let me know. His thought was, if I have to cross a road, I know when the light turns green, I cross. Yeah. When it's red, I stop. No need to look. In India, when you cross a road, it doesn't matter what light is green, red or yellow. You look around, figure out, best time and then cross. Yeah. So when you have this mindset and a continuous thinking process, which is on, and for you, this is the necessity, you guys are naturally talented. Yeah. It's a very wonderful insight I had from him. And a very good friend of mine. I laughed a lot, but when I thought about it, you guys are dearth of talent, Joydeep.
Totally.
Yeah, it's our mindset. We have casticized the talent pool in our organization and stamped it, and Absolutely. Then in the cultural phenomena, the way we have to put it on is where we're missing it. I think that is the way we should be thinking.
No, great, absolutely. I think that's very fundamental thoughts. Ravi, just to take you quickly, we have last couple of minutes and then we'll close. So we have talked of organization. The organization cannot exist without customers. And the customers also have to move over to a digital way of working. And you have been at the cusp of it. Of course, stockbroking is instant, fast, quick, easier than maybe a banking now, than maybe insurance, but still. And that's the question is, how do you foresee that we can remove the insecurity that the customers have of transacting online and making everybody transact digitally? Just a couple of quick thoughts before we move to the close.
Well, the good news is that India is a country full of young people, right? So if you're attracting younger people, generally speaking, they're already digital natives. They're used to transacting. Their entire life is online, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not. We find that to be less of a problem at Upstocks. I think we've been just amazed by.
But I'm saying beyond Upstocks, the whole
I'm saying generally speaking. I think as long as you it depends on who your target audience is, right? Yeah. In our case, it's youngsters. So it's been easy. I think people want to become more and more digital customers, and the ones that are not are trying to learn to become more and more digital. The evolution of technology is such a rapid pace now that you can digitize pretty much so many things now, right? Yeah. So as long as you're able to leverage all that's being done, I think it's surprising how easy it is to onboard and service customers digitally nowadays.
No, fantastic. So I think we've reached the end of our session. So this is such a vast topic, and a fireside chat is not enough. But hopefully, everybody who's listening to this, they've got some kind of diamonds to work with in their own organizations or in society or in communities, because all organizations nowadays have to be relevant to their community and society that they work in. Thanks, Tapan. Thanks, Ravi. Thank you very, very much for
Thank you.
sharing
you.
with us.
Great
Thank you
pleasure.
so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.